Alright. Oh my god. What is this, like, take full of this whole hour-long thing, trying to do this without any audio problems, or... Ugh. Oh, my throat's so dry from all this. You'll see why. We're just gonna get right into it. We're running out of time real quick. I just want to get this out of the way. Humbundle's doing this thing right now, 1089 for this whole F.E.A.R franchise, which is the whole reason why I'm doing this. F.E.A.R. Oh my god. No, fuck it. I'm not doing a take 5. I don't have time for it. Steam has F.E.A.R 1 bundled for everything else for $60, and it's total bullshit. That's why this is like this. Okay. Start. Dude, go. Now. We interrupt you to show you Chris, the Clueless Gamer, starring Chris, the Clueless Gamer. Abandoned during the quarantine, he found a very old bunker, and in that bunker, he found a very powerful gaming computer. But many strange things start to happen every time he boots up one of the old games, so now it's up to him to confront the problems and deal with them all on his own. Hey, what kind of garbage was that? Huh? What? I wasn't even in the fucking intro! Fear. Horror. Terror. You get the picture. I was looking through my Steam catalog to see what spooky game I was going to play this October, and I happened to stumble upon the F.E.A.R and BioShock games, and I had a choice to pick which ones I was going to do, and this year I'm going to be doing F.E.A.R. Now, I'm here to talk a lot about the F.E.A.R games, but afterwards I did originally go back and play the original BioShock game, just so that way I could do a little compare and contrast, because I had remembered it being scary when I first played it, way back when. I was desperate to find another horror shooter to compare F.E.A.R with that wasn't Resident Evil. So with a game that was comparable in guns, superpowers, scary beats, and little girls, what did I learn? And why is the first F.E.A.R game chained to everything else in the franchise? Jesus Christ, what the hell? Well, the use of interactivity and exploration in BioShock demonstrated to me how horror is an amazing medium to be explored in video games figuratively and literally, due to a video game's ability to bridge the gap between fantasy and reality, and how attention to detail on a developer's part leads to players giving a lot of attention to those details. Like, yeah, you know, ghosts, big daddies, clones, and anarchist utopias aren't real, but the magic of Rapture is made so real by the attention to detail to the environments, the characters, and how all those details carries over in the world level to level, so that way when I control my character with the mouse and the keyboard in reality, I have now been transported into Rapture through my computer. And this real world is really trying to kill me now. Holy shit, it's fucking dangerous. The ability to make a player figuratively and literally stand up to what scares them is an awesome advantage that video games have over any other medium. Movies, books, TV shows, doesn't matter. Video games, the ability to interact with the world that you're in is only achievable through video games. And as a personal anecdote, my first experience with a horror in gaming came from the notorious survival horror game known as The Elder Scrolls Oblivion, where the first zombie in the tutorial scared me so bad that I had to go get my mom so she could sit with me until I got out of the sewers, because I was a dumb 9-year-old little baby and I didn't know what the hell I was doing. Never had the combination of spooky noises and ominous setting, having something jump out at you, and danger, amnesia, machine for pigs, all horror motifs by the way, might I add, accumulate to, let's say, enrich my pants and my gaming experience. But when does a game go from using horror elements as a choice or a set piece to becoming a full-fledged horror game? Or vice versa, when does a horror game cross the line and transition into something else that's entirely different that just happens to have some spooky stuff thrown in? Well, is it just because it calls itself a horror game? If that were true, then Amnesia Machine for Pigs qualifies as a horror game, but BioShock doesn't. And both you and I know that's not true. So I'm going to expand my definition a little bit more. Is it because it has a monster? A little bit. It has to be smart or scary though. Or it can be cheap and one-shots you. Well, what if we add a bit of spooky ambient sound and ominous lighting with a decrepit environment to build up the suspense to go along with the half-second reveal of the monster trying to kill your face off? Well, now you have yourself a nice little jump scare, but jump scares are just gimmicks. Fine. What if we put an actual story with an incentivizing goal and put the monster in between the player and their goal, coupled with the spooky sounds, ominous lighting, a decrepit environment, and all of that suspense that we've built up for the half-second reveal of the monster that doesn't come off the street but is rather earned because the carefully planned portion of the story and the gameplay that tries to kill your face off? Well, now you've completed a copy of Amnesia Machine for Pigs. You gotta have danger. Fortunately, for horror games that aspire to be games in the first place, they already take that extra step not only to invest the player through the well-balanced mixture of the previously mentioned elements, but also throw in a dash of vulnerability and consequence to make the player actually feel like they're in danger. Or, put simply, the sum of not being invincible plus being isolated times something chasing you to the expletive of dark to the factorial of spooky noises, all divided by having a goal, is Five Nights at Freddy's. So horror is hard, and just because you get the right ingredients doesn't mean that you'll be able to make something good, or more importantly, something that's to everyone's taste. But F.E.A.R did find the right balance of these ingredients and used a mixture of The Matrix with The Ring and a little bit of Resident Evil and a fuck ton of Rainbow Six Siege 10 years before it was even a thing. Seriously, look at this fucking lean, dude. How cool is that? 2005! Oh my god! Put even more simply, F.E.A.R series is a 5-course meal that's served to you at a 5-star restaurant called Warner Brothers Eateries. F.E.A.R 1 is an expensive calamari appetizer with a side of Perseus Mandate bread and Extraction Point side salad, followed by F.E.A.R 2, the main entree, which is a week-old slice of Little Caesars pizza, and F.E.A.R 3 is hometown buffet bread pudding served out of the sink from the restaurant. Metacritic tells me I'm dumb for thinking F.E.A.R 2 and F.E.A.R 3 are dog ass, but there's no way that you can tell me Call of Duty needed ghosts, having everything lit up like a rave is scary. Speaking of raves, the song Garage Battles reused in every single game of this franchise. Someone needs to give this song a drop, goddammit. So unfortunately, even though the first F.E.A.R game and its expansions took me and just straight on 3-man ganked me with some 5-star yummy deliciousness, stomach flu I got from the 4th and 5th dishes of this 5-course meal are going to be responsible for a lot of the hate this restaurant's going to get from me overall. I guess what I'm trying to say is, I waited 6 years to play these games, and really, F.E.A.R, Extraction Point, and Perseus Mandates were the best ones out of all of them. Spoilers, by the way. Just heads up. So this is going to be a variation of my regular video since A, we're not going to be starting with the cartoon, and B, instead of a random mix of my feelings with gameplay, it's just going to be the whole story. We're just running through the whole thing just for... It's confusing, man. The whole game is just fucking wild. Not just the first one, all of them. So, ready? I'm not. Let's do this. Oh, before I forget, there's also going to be a little thing on Humble Bundle. Every single game of F.E.A.R and all of its DLCs are currently $10.99 on Humble Bundle. For like 3 more days. I'm so sorry. I tried to do this within the week, but holy shit, man. Just the audio problems. Oh my god. Okay. Sorry, I'm trying to stall because, this F.E.A.R story. Okay, here we go. I'm gonna give you the whole F.E.A.R story, fast as I can, because it's a doozy, and I want to get this over with, so bear with me. Ready? 3, 2, 1, here we go. Before anything, the year is like 1982-ish. During the end of the Vietnam War, a man named Harlan Wade that works for Big Bad Military Company Number 1 Armacam Technology Corporation discovers that his 3-year-old daughter Alma has super psychic powers that cause him and her to get nightmares. So he takes her to his company ATC because they're trying to make soldiers that can communicate telepathically with their minds, but they're trying to cultivate them from birth, so they want kids like his daughter, so he takes that super literally. He decides to get his daughter pregnant with a DNA cocktail made of her own DNA and his DNA and all the other scientists' DNA because in order to counteract the incest or whatever it is that's going to be happening. But she's only 7. So they put her into a coma until she's 14, so that way she's actually old enough to have baby, and during that 7-year period everything's going fine, but the Vietnam War kind of ended, but they don't really care because they need to fucking blast this bitch with her spank bank juice. So she's waking up to get impregnated through the turkey baster method, and then she's put back to sleep until the baby's ready, and then she's waking up to get the baby taken away, and then she's turkey basted again, then she's put back to sleep again, and then she's ready for round 2, and then we're going to wait for this whole thing to happen. But then some part of Harlan Wade decides that he's going to wait a little bit because none of the kids have really started displaying any of the psychic powers that Alma started displaying when she was 3 years old, so he's going to have to start testing them to see what they can actually do to see if his idea even worked. So Alma's just going to be left alone for a little bit. Oh my god. I just need a breath. Okay. So the kids are tested on for about 10 years, and during that 10-year period, Alma's using her psychic radio to try and get in contact with one of the kids, and luckily for her, kid number 2 can hear her. Unluckily for kid number 2, he's too young to really handle the message, or the power of her message, so he floats into the air and starts randomly killing people because of all the uncontrollable power that he's getting from the connected link from his mom. The scientists figure out it was Alma, and they decide that instead of this time just putting her to sleep, maybe they should actually put her to sleep, and for that reason, Harlan Wade kind of does that, and Alma becomes dead. After the whole event, the first little kid is found not to be psychic, so he has his mind wiped, and he's chucked out of the facility into an orphanage, but they hold on to kid number 2 to keep testing him and raising him for the psychic army. Oh, if you really want to know what happens to kid number 1, you can go on the wiki, but it's just as vague and bad as my explanation, so you can really take your pick, because right now F.E.A.R 1 starts. And so we got this new guy, and you're the guy with the craziest reflexes that have been assigned to the first encounter assault recon team for their latest adventure. Oh my god. Just in time for the latest adventure. Alright, this wacko's name is Paxton Fettle. He's at an ATC facility that has just been overrun by their clone army, by their psychic commander, Paxton Fettle. So you get dropped off at an alleyway that was near Paxton Fettle's last known location, but unfortunately all you find is a dead body, and then somehow he gets away. Turns out he's at this water treatment facility, and when you get there, also you find just another dead body, and somehow he also gets away. So then you get to this ATC facility where he has 2 hostages there, and one of them dies and the other one gets away. And then he gets away. Oh my god. And then this time when you go try and find him at his base, you get shot down. And when you get shot down, 2 new teams are deployed. Introducing the Sergeant and Mr. Bucket. These 2 new teams are deployed right after your helicopter blown up, and they're tasked with the previous objectives. The Sergeant has to go recover the Delta team that was initially destroyed before the beginning of the first F.E.A.R game and the initial attack of the clones when the OG F.E.A.R team was deployed, while also trying to figure out what the fuck is going on, while Mr. Bucket has to go recover the ATC president while the whole event of the first game and the Sergeant are going down. While these 2 teams are doing their mission from their first game, you come back to the working world, and you need to find out who blew you out of the sky, and you go and blow up their base. Sergeant is stopped from getting one of the big bad guys, and Bucket gets absolutely destroyed. But you from the first game have been blown up before, so you eventually wake up and get evac. But Alma doesn't like that. But it doesn't stop there. Sergeant still has to get his bad guy. Bucket is going to go through a shittier Quake 4 transformation sequence at the ATC hospital, where afterwards he's going to find out that all of a sudden there's this ghost girl that keeps phase shifting in and out of existence around him, and the ATC president, Genevieve Arstad, is going to help him. If by help you mean turn Bucket's body into a ghost girl magnet, then yeah, she does help him with that, but Bucket is now conflicted because yeah, the ghost girl is really hot, but now when she touches him, it kills him, so Bucket's going to go find someone to help him with the keeping on of the living, and Sergeant still has to catch this bad guy. Which he does, but Alma doesn't like that. After that, your team captain decides that maybe you guys have overstayed your welcome. Maybe Perseus' mandate is Perseus mandated to get the fuck out. And you do.
Did real good, son.
Bucket, however, got the information he needed on how to not be a Ghost Girl Magnet no more, and he has to go through a bunch of bullshit, and one of his teammates gets lost and tripped, and she abducted, tripped, oh my god, words. He has to sit in a chair. But when he gets there, it doesn't work, and then Alma has the dude that she's been trying to get the getting on with strapped in a chair, and Bucket gets his hand touched by Alma, and Alma gets pregnant, and that's how that game ends. In case you didn't know, kids, that's how getting on works. When you touch a girl's hand, even if you hit it, pull out, or whatever you want to do, that's when you get her pregnant. You better marry that girl, because that's what you're going to have to do. Gummit. What am I? Some kind of old person? What? Hey, speaking of old things, remember that old shit I talked about from the first game? Well, yeah, you weren't actually done, because like I said, you've been blown up, and now you've been blown up before. So you wake up and you try and get extracted while Paxton Fettle's chasing you, and he's giving you all sorts of horrific hallucinations that may or not be real. Ooh, spooky. This is a horror game. Don't forget, we're gonna talk about that. We just gotta finish the story. I'm almost done. I'm so sorry. Stick with me. I know we're almost there. $10.99 bundle on Humble Bundle. $60 on Steam. I don't know what gets scarier than that. Helicopter. At the end of the game. You know what happens next. Boom! Game over. Next game. You wake up in ATC jail, Mexico. Fettel feels bad that he wasn't able to kill you before finding out that his mom's pregnant with another guy's baby, and he decides that maybe he needs your help to go get to her one last time before he tries to kill you, or ATC maybe kills you, or maybe one of his mom's random shenanigans kills you. Anyways, he helps you escape the jail. You run through Mexican favela. You steal an ATC helicopter. We've been in helicopters before! So you crash land into Costco, and after you leave Costco, you have to go running through the suburbs a couple of times, and after you run through the suburbs into the city, you meet up with one of your old F.E.A.R team members from the first game, but unfortunately for you, she gets kidnapped, and after you meet up with her, the whole place is coming down, and you get sent over to a pod that she puts you inside of that launches you up into the sky, but oh my god, I guess pods are like helicopters, because they fly. So you crash land and you end up on a bridge, and you go through a mech level to get to the airport, and once you reach the airport, you meet Bucket, and he tells you that you have to kill the ghost of Harlan Wade. So you go into a dream to fight him, and you get to Alma, and the ending is based on whether you or Paxton Fettel scored the most points in the game, and whoever wins raises the baby. Okay, we're done. Oh my god. I played all these games on all their difficulties: easy, moderate, hard, extreme. which is insane mode in F.E.A.R 3, but I'm going to call it extreme anyways, and F.E.A.R 2 doesn't have a hard mode, so just you can crank all these up and assume that, you know, it's moderate, hard, and extreme for F.E.A.R 2. The only hard thing in F.E.A.R 2 and F.E.A.R 3 is getting one shot by the shotgunners, and it doesn't matter if you have 100% armor, 100% health, X boosted, reflex boosted, doesn't matter. You're gonna get one shot, and they just put some fucking rooms with these dudes, and that was probably the most annoying shit in the world. Side note, developers. I know I clicked extreme difficulty. I know I clicked hard mode, but one-shotting me, as useful as a method as that is, I'd rather get put at like 1% health if we have a health mechanic, because there's nothing better than having a 10-minute firefight and having to replay it because of a fucking shotgunner who just got stuck on the corner because of his dumbass AI and blows me just all over the wall. Just a side note. But seriously, F.E.A.R 1 does have the best shotgun in gaming, and no, the story doesn't make any sense because it was alright in the first game. The introduction of the horror was subtle and it remained mysterious for the large portion that you were playing. Up until it's revealed that your slow-mo is because Alma's your mom. And it's not the worst twist, but I am definitely on the Mandalore bandwagon that I personally believe your powers can be explained that you're just good. You're just that good. When Alma was, you know, reimagined, I guess, in the second and third games, it really ruined the mystique of her character, because I think not being able to see her face for so much of the game in the first game really added to the creepy factor. I don't know, she was kind of used as a prop a lot more often than I would have liked her being used as. And, you know, if she had to be brought in the second and third games, I'd much rather had it that they weren't focused so much on Alma, and instead she might have been, you know, some kind of element from your past that keeps haunting you. Maybe she jumps around all over the country, and she coordinates with other supernatural forces that cause the F.E.A.R team to go from place to place, trying to maintain normalcy while paranormal activities are getting stirred up now that this demon's been released. I don't know, I guess in this universe we can have psychics, but we can't just have people with crazy reflexes. And because the only psychic, I guess, ever was Alma, she's the reason why the story has to stay so connected to her. I just, you know, I swallowed that pill, whatever. I moved on, and I thought maybe I'd enjoy F.E.A.R 2 and F.E.A.R 3, but in F.E.A.R 2, I saw nothing but orange, and when I first got into gameplay, I couldn't lean, and I missed BioShock, because from F.E.A.R 1 to F.E.A.R 2, I remembered BioShock to BioShock 2, and it was those just little things that still felt like Bioshock 1 but better. And this didn't feel like Fear 1 but better. It felt like Fear greatly diminished. But definitely prettier, you know? It's obviously pretty. I just don't care about graphics at all. Just one of my favorite games that I still play is the original Killer Instinct. And, you know, I know it's good graphics, but I got that game when I was probably like 12, and I still play the shit out of it. Oblivion too. I still play the crap out of Oblivion. Anyways, Perseus Mandate and Extraction Point, they suffered in some parts with their graphics, and you can tell, like, some corners were cut, and that doesn't bother me so much. You can definitely see it though, and I don't want to hide that. You should definitely be aware of those things, but they still, for the most part, focus their attention on keeping the player in a spooky segment coupled with a dangerous firefight with a quiet moment after that where the player's left wondering if, you know, oh shit, did I get them all? It's really fucking quiet. Did I oh. Smart AI coupled with good level design and a little bit of planning make magic. But Fear 2 and 3 decide to focus a lot more on making things look pretty and just understanding that they're gonna have spooky set pieces, whether it be an enemy encounter or a ghost encounter or something of the like. I guess that's probably the most fair criticism to Fear 2 and 3. The scares feel scripted, and in Fear 1 they didn't. Understandably, in the first game, you can get worn down with all the reoccurring environments, from offices to subways to industrial areas to, oh my god, there's so many things that reoccur. Garage battles, sewers, helicopters. But in the game's defense, it's very hard to have spooky lighting in places that aren't inside. Fear 2 takes place in extremely lit hospitals, brightly lit schools, well-lit labs, and fully lit underground industrial complexes. While they have noticeably dark areas, they're usually dark because they're just trying to get you ready for a scare. And in Fear 3, you're going to be running outside a lot with a very few scripted indoor segments. Hell, even these indoor segments have outdoor segments in them. Not to say that these environments couldn't work, it's just that they weren't used to the advantage that they should have been. I mean, they were, just not all the way. You know? Just 100% it, man. The trailers to Fear 2 and Fear 3, well, Fear 2, tried to show off the scariness and the horror of the game. However, Fear 2, the game itself, has enemies lit up with light brights, and every single time you go into slow-mo, they all get lit up. Like, what is this? What the fuck is... God damn it. But I think probably the worst thing of all is that Alma's reduced to a jump scare QuickTime event, and you gotta press shift to fight her off. Which, alright, is unexpected for the first playthrough, but for the replayability of the game, diminishes it immeasurably. I personally don't like jump scares. I don't think anyone likes jump scares. but I do acknowledge that they're very good and effective for instantly setting the horror environment. But honestly, the most scared I was during F.E.A.R 2 was when I was playing the game for the 4th time on the hard difficulty, and I didn't shoot any of the ghosts, and I didn't use my flashlight for the spooky segment. Having to sit there with the ghosts, trying to avoid them, running from them, listening to all the ATC guys dying and shit while almost chasing me down was really fucking scary. But again, none of this was done by the designers. I had to do this myself to make the game scary. Otherwise, when I played it, I'd just blast the ghost and have my flashlight on and not even give a single fuck. Not take any damage, not get hurt at all, not care in the slightest. Yeah, by the way, F.E.A.R 2 and F.E.A.R 3 give you an infinite flashlight. So, good luck being scared with that. We talked about infinite flashlights in Amnesia Machine for Pigs, by the way. If anything, I'm just trying to express how I'm so upset by the potential that was there, but maybe trying to make the games pretty got in the way of trying to make it spooky. I think the shock ending where Alma rapes you is ultimately fine. I obviously know it's not the ending most people wanted, but Alma not dying in the first game and her being brought in the second game shackles the entire franchise to her. So it only makes sense that the third game would have to be related to her in such way. If the second F.E.A.R game would have ended with the magnet, whatever it is, what the fuck is it called? Who cares? The anti-magnet. If it would have worked, people would have been mad. The critics would have been mad. Although it probably would have saved the franchise in the long run. So, with the knowledge that we have to have a third game, since we already had 2 that were fairly successful, what did they do with the Alma baby storyline? Well, here's the Suicide Squad trailer.
Is this the real life?
Let me out of here, Donald, please.
Let me have you, partner! Is this just fantasy? Come on! Caught in a landslide. No escape from reality.
I want to assemble a task force of the most dangerous people on the planet.
They're bad guys. Worst of the worst.
Too late. Open the gate! My time.
And here's the F.E.A.R 3 trailer.
It was Mother who gave us purpose. She reached out to me. She showed me what must be done. This is our moment, brother.
As offensive as these are, sorry, I should have given you a trigger warning before that. I should have given you a trigger warning. I'm sorry. F.E.A.R 3 that decides, instead of killing off characters, we're going to keep bringing characters back. So they bring back Paxton Fettel, who was absent from the second game and killed off in the first game. Sadly, if you want to play as him, you can't. It's only reserved for the second player, because he's like Isaac's buddy from Dead Space 3. He's only available in cutscenes and as a vessel for player 2. I'm more upset that even if you beat this game on the hardest difficulty, which you only get to unlock after playing it on hard, you still don't get to play as Paxton Fettel. Admittedly, because he probably isn't capable of dying, but dude, I've already beaten it on the hardest difficulty. Like, come on. You're really not gonna give me a character that's invincible? Fuck you. Just like Suicide Squad is just a fun movie to kind of turn your brain off and watch all the pretty colors, well, F.E.A.R 3 is an arcade shooter with regenerating health and a score system for some reason with level ups that you can just kind of turn your brain off to and try and beat your friend to get the highest points. If anything, F.E.A.R 3 just suffers the most from not letting F.E.A.R 1 be in the past. It's constantly regurgitated through story, cutscenes, characters, your brother, all that good stuff. And arguably, I'd say that F.E.A.R 2 and F.E.A.R 3 would probably be fine games. Maybe even good games, if they just had nothing to do with Alma and Paxton Fettel. They honestly handled well, they played fine. I didn't really encounter too many bugs. I thought that F.E.A.R 2 suffered more because it really took out a lot of the melee mechanics that I had fun with from the first F.E.A.R game. The guns themselves, they suffer as well from F.E.A.R 2 onward because, I don't know, they just didn't match that punchiness that the F.E.A.R 1 game had. Like, here, listen to this shotgun. You know, it just sounds muzzled. All the guns sound muzzled in F.E.A.R 2 and F.E.A.R 3. F.E.A.R 2, in my opinion, probably is the weakest out of all these games because it decides that it's gonna be like a halfway Halo game and not really, you know, commit all the way. They let you carry health packs instead of just you trying to rely on finding health pickups like in Halo, and they only give you 3, which you'll always have 3 even on the hard difficulty. You know, I just wish we didn't have to keep Alma alive all 3 games. I didn't care about fearing Alma again. F.E.A.R 3 plays a lot like Duke Nukem Forever, and if you liked how Duke Nukem Forever played but didn't wish that it was attached to that franchise, then this is a new way for you to try and get a perspective on those kind of games. You know, the Call of Duty health mixed with kind of buttery gameplay controls. Like, it feels fine. It has an art style that I wish Borderlands had instead of its shitty halfway comic book design. If Borderlands looked like this, I'd probably be willing to give it a chance. The characters, they... how do I explain this? Well, you know, they talk like Suicide Squad characters. The ATC guys don't act like clones, and the clones, they kind of look like Bionicles for some reason to me. Maybe even like Killzone guys? No, probably more like Half-Life guys. That's another game I need to play, Half-Life. Maybe that'll be the next one I do. And then you also have these zombie enemies that appear for a couple... No, they appear at the end of the game. Maybe like halfway, towards the end of the game. Oh, and these demon dogs. Oh, I didn't even talk about the crawler enemies from F.E.A.R 2. Or I didn't talk about any. Dude, the enemy is ATC the whole game. You know, the clones are ATC, the officers are ATC, everything that's not, you know, F.E.A.R or Delta Team is ATC. In a way, you're basically fighting another Resident Evil company, even though I don't want to compare this game to a Resident Evil game. In a lot of ways, it is copying Resident Evil. It's got a big old evil corporation that's funding all this crazy shit, and one of their experiments goes rogue and starts destroying everything. But instead of this, you know, instead of a zombie apocalypse in Raccoon City, it's a clone takeover in Fairport City. As you play through the F.E.A.R franchise, you just kind of realize that you're getting the same story about you gotta go kill Alma over and over and over again, but just with different styles of shooters. You know, first you get the Monolith F.E.A.R shooter, which is very visceral and grueling and intense, and then you get a kind of shitty Halo shooter with F.E.A.R 2, and then you get a weird Duke Nukem clone in F.E.A.R 3. I know I didn't talk about Perseus Mandate and Extraction Point all that much, but that's because for the most part they're pretty solid. You know, I know Mandalore doesn't like Perseus Mandate, and he likes Extraction Point. I think they're both good. I think they're both fine. If anything, your teammates can be annoying, but you don't have to worry about that long. You're not really around them. You're just around them for exposition and some story elements, but they're not really there to help you with anything. And yeah, that's the whole F.E.A.R review. Really, I'm just doing this because I'm mad that they have this on the Steam page. I wanted to make you guys aware of the Humble Bundle offer that's going on. So if you want other people to try out the F.E.A.R games, but you also want them to be weary of F.E.A.R 2 and F.E.A.R 3, go ahead, share this video. If you thought I should have talked about something else or should have explained something better, let me know, or else I'll never improve. And thank you so much to my Patreon, Brittany. She's wonderful. I love her. She helps me out so much. She's amazing. And yeah, help me move out of my parents' house, so that way I can keep working on these videos, and I can get them out sooner. My computer crashes like 3 times in editing session, and I can't go a single day without my recording software fucking up. So help me stop pirating my software and help me buy legitimate software. So no, I should cut that last part out. Oh my fucking... He kicked me, are you kidding me? Are you fucking kidding me? Oh, bro, come on! No fucking way! Fucking...
He's the key. If we contain him, we contain the situation.
Fucker's got an appetite.